Welcome to another episode of my Motortown playthrough. Today we are going to do the delivery that we set up for the last time around. I wish I could have started this episode at the steel mill, but something else came up. I was actually already starting the recording. I went onto the road and then I noticed something weird that caused me to try and figure out a few of my settings because the stuff didn't really look what I would expect it to. It seems like if you have your semi-truck outfitted with 10 light fixtures and do the same for your trailer, the light fixtures don't really emit light anymore, so it looked a bit weird. And yeah, I ended up bringing the trailer back and separated the trailer from the tractor here because I needed to check this out. So for reference, this is what the semi is supposed to look like, especially with the blue in the middle of the grill and all of that. I think this looks really nice, and we are going to check out what the trailer looks like in a moment. But as soon as I put both of them too close to each other, it seems like nothing works anymore. So yeah, we are going to take a quick look at them separately. So let's just teleport back over to the Campy. This might not be the best spot. Oh yeah, I can't even turn this on because, well, how am I going to do that? I need a semi-truck here unless I want to do that for each individual lamp. But just to see if this actually looks like anything, let's turn on at least a few of the lights. Toggle light. Toggle light. This might already not be working how I want it to. Okay, we have one turned off again, so this isn't really doing much of anything. But yeah, I got a bit concerned after the blue grill didn't show up on my semi-truck. But this is apparently just how it works right now. Okay, right now it's looking pretty good. Let's see what happens if we get it onto the trailer. Or get the trailer onto the semi-truck. So the lights all turned on, but I don't think it's going to really emit any light anymore. Okay, well this is now behaving a bit differently than before. Because before I wouldn't even get the blue from my underglow inside the front thing there. But yeah, right now the entire trailer should be glowing pretty much blue. Because there's one glow strip segment inside each of the parts there, but yeah, that's not really doing anything right now. At least the front is looking like where it should be. And yeah, for some reason, I don't know why, but the barriers at the entry point there still don't have physics, so they just float away if you hit them. Anyways, we are on the road now, so let's keep going. I also turned down the moonlight thingy there. So yeah, we are now back to 100% moonlight brightness instead of 200%. If I go back to racing events, I might have to up that again. But I think overall this is looking much nicer for regular driving. This was the first thing I tried to figure out. I just thought that maybe the moonlight was so bright that I couldn't see any light emitted from the glow parts, but yeah, that's really not it. So optically they are glowing, but it might be more for a situation where right now the parts are full bright, so they are looking like they are lit, but they're not emitting any actual light. Might just be too much for the game to handle, and I just ended up completely tearing through my graphics settings to figure this one out. So yeah, that was a bit weird. Anyways, here we are. back onto the main road. So this is the one coming from Ara, and yeah, we are just going to go towards the gas station. I made it to somewhere around here with the first attempt before noticing the problems, trying to figure out a solution on the spot, and then deciding to just restart the entire episode. I know the dev is working on trying to increase the light limit, but yeah, this might already show that there is definitely a restriction with how things are being handled right now. So we'll have to see what he comes up with, but I would be excited to get a few more light fixtures on the vehicle. But I hope that would also then mean that I can see the light fixtures on the truck and trailer at the same time. And yeah, another thing I should be doing at some point is actually recording the after race commentary on the recent racing events. There are still two of them that I haven't done anything for yet. First one is a rally event, the second one is the Formula Frenzy event that I prepared recently. So yeah, those have been a bit on the back burner. I've had a few tough weeks recently. Elections in Germany, and it got all a bit heated, so yeah. I don't want to get too much into it. I wouldn't actually mind talking politics here, but I know that some folks would be very much against the idea. Yeah, definitely over revving the entire thing, and I'm also kinda off the road right now. But yeah, taking a good amount of inertia up onto the incline. Oh, the next part. This is something that I've grown to hate here, this section. It's actually part of my rally track, and or my rally stage event, and I'm not sure how to handle it right now because it feels like these stupid large rocks over here, they are just encroaching more and more onto the road surface, or whatever you want to call this thing here. I don't really enjoy it because there isn't all that much wiggle room for you to go on here. So I'm not too sure what I should be doing for the racing event. It's an event with mixed surface, so I would on principle like there to be a few more off-road sections, but maybe it's time to shorten the first stage and let it begin at the gas station. Going through here with powerful V8 engines on rear-wheel driven cars, I don't know. It's too easy to make a slight mistake and completely screw yourself up for the rest of the stage because there is no way to repair anything here. We're also slightly sliding, which I don't know if it's too realistic. I mean, it's not going too far out of hand. But yeah, it's noticeable. Then again, we have a lot of load on here. So while it's adding more traction, it's also giving much more inertia to the trailer. Just adding a lot of potential for sideways momentum. I mean, overall the game is much better about this stuff than it was before. It used to be quite ridiculous with how much the trailer would step out. Right now, I don't know. I mean, most of my load is still at the very front, so that doesn't really go much into that. The rear is considerably lighter, comparatively. But I will have to see how the entire thing goes. At the end of the day, I think the last axle is going to potentially blow at some point. I think we have that one slightly overloaded. It would have been a much better idea to take one of the fully open trailers without the sidewalls. I couldn't really load all the coils exactly where I thought they needed to go, so yeah, this is partially on me for taking the wrong thing, but I thought this would be looking pretty sick at night. Didn't know the game would... Oh, Jesus. No, 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 no. Dang it. Okay, at the very least, it lets me reset without losing the coils. Otherwise, I would have gotten a warning already. So this is not all that bad. But yeah, let's refill real quick. Okay, maybe check the tires, although, yeah, on the new update, they don't really seem to give me any indication anymore. I don't know if that's actually intended. I might have to report that. But yeah, these ones here, they should be slowly getting damaged for overloading. Everything else should still be okay. Maybe not in terms of legality, because axle weight and gross vehicle weight is definitely something that I completely disregarded. Just cutting off that stupid guy, huh? The thing is, the NPCs have a weird habit of sometimes going really slow around some sections, and when you try to overtake them, even in a semi-truck, afterwards they start really going for it. So they might be going 50 around one of these sections, and when they get on a straight, then they actually aim for the 90 speed limit. So I'm better off not even letting them go up in front. Another thing I want to quickly talk about is Tokyo Extreme Racer Zero. Well, not Zero, the new one, 2025. I made a few videos on the game, actually I think like 4 of them. Just talking about different aspects, trying to play through the early part of the game. All pretty good stuff, but in the end, understandably, people don't really watch the thing. I ended up making another 10 videos in another session, but then decided to not even upload a single one of them. It got a bit too rambly and repetitive at some point for my liking. So maybe I'll make another one at some point, but yeah, I don't think overall it's going to be a full-on series. Maybe later down the line, but then again, while the game is really fun to play, it's also kind of very repetitive in a sense. Oh yeah, by the way, I think this may have been the one situation where I noticed I need one of the 13 gear or 15, 18, whatever we have in the game transmissions. This was the first time one of the 6 speed transmissions has ever failed me. So yeah, I ended up going with something else instead. And I just left the trailer behind on the first attempt, teleported my truck over to a tuning station, put in the transmission, hooked it back up, and went from there. So yeah, with heavy loads like that, you actually do need that kind of transmission. It is important after all, which I'm quite happy about. Even though I'm not usually somebody who would gravitate to it. But yeah, it has a sense in game. You cannot always avoid it, which I think is a good thing. But yeah, for the most part, I'll likely just be skipping through gears with this one. Okay, we are also going pretty quick for the amount of stuff we have loaded. So maybe slightly slow it down. I'm also aware that I talked about how erratic the other vehicles can be. Sometimes just going very slow for no reason and then suddenly trying to speed away from you, and I basically just did the same on all the buses over there. Although me slowing down that much was really just down to the load. But here we go. There are still a few more inclines up ahead, and once again I'm running one more coil than the last time around. But on principle this should be a viable way of handling things. And yeah, by the end of this I would really like to... Oh, jeez, guys, stop drifting with my trailer. Oh god. And yeah, for some reason it stopped drifting and just started flipping me over. Yeah, by the end of this I would really like to evaluate if this is actually a good thing to do. If this is now a worthwhile job in the end. And a big part of this is going to be everything to do with how long it takes. And I'll try to just talk about the cargo itself and not really get into the whole thing about how long it takes to get the cargo produced. But yeah, the time it takes to load this stuff is definitely going to be a factor. I think I'll be generous and just say that to load this realistically, if you are quick and know what you're doing, you don't need to put the trailer in the way of your loading area. So maybe with around 20 minutes you should be able to get all the stuff on the trailer like I did the last time in around 30 or so. But yeah, some of it was definitely down to me despawning one of the coils again, having to figure out the correct distribution on the trailer to make it work, and also just putting the trailer into the pickup area to begin with, and therefore just having another obstacle to deal with when using the forklift. Oh, this is actually looking pretty nice. I didn't even know the game had a fog effect. Yeah, this is kinda scenic. I also should turn on the lights again. Double checking that the blue is actually coming on this time around once more, but yeah, I have no idea what happened before and if this is something that's really just bugged out or something. Ah, now it's actually getting really bright. Now that the rain is gone. But yeah, I'll have to see maybe one of the SRTs that I have. I think one of them is tuned for racing and Jesus Christ, not again. I think one of the two that I have doesn't have any additional light fixtures. So maybe that can allow the lights on the trailer to shine. In a literal sense. Let's go first person for a bit. I hope this isn't too loud in the video. It's certainly a bit louder for me right now. But yeah, I love the interiors on these vehicles, they are so good. I wonder if they are going to do anything about the thing being counted as a sleeper. Because apparently it's not supposed to be one, and if we look in the back here, there isn't really a bed in there. It's more like a cargo hold for personal items or something. Who knows? Also maybe a bit too much grayscale in this thing. Could have a bit more color, but I don't know what the real one looks like. And yeah, we are slowly pulling up the mountain. This I think is the steepest part, so at the very least we are not stalling out. The load right now should be 84 tons, so yeah, that's quite quite the amount. And I'm also in comfort, which I should just get out of. Doesn't really do much. The first time around I let uh, the autopilot do most of the journey. So comfort was required so that I don't just burn through all my coolant. Also the fun thing about my TXR playthrough, and one of the reasons why I don't really want to continue it on video, I ended up going for an attempt at just completing the entire game in my starter car. I don't think that's too interesting for other people to watch, but yeah, I had an idea on how far I want to take that car, and right now I'm just able to take it further, and I'm wondering how far it can go. So while initially I would have been using the same vehicle for at least, what was it, like 13, 14 episodes or something, it might be something that I just take the entire way through. But yeah, overall, if you watch the other series, despite me being very critical and analytical about the different aspects of that game, doesn't mean that I don't enjoy it, because overall I really do. I just like talking about this stuff in a certain way, and some people think that some of the nitpicks that I have amount to major criticism, which isn't really all the case. There are a few things that... Jesus Christ, this is blinding. There are a few things where I have strong opinions. Some of the opinions I may word in a certain way, but they are not always held very strongly. Okay, I think we are pretty much at the top now. Again, this still looks so weird, just having 6 of those coils haphazardly put around the trailer there without much rhyme or reason from what it looks like, all slightly off kilter. Some of them even, or at least one of them, put in a real weird angle, just standing upright. But yeah, this is what peak performance looks like. You may not like it, but that doesn't make it any less or so. And yeah, I have a bit of a convoy behind me. I tried letting some of them pass, but doesn't really work that easily. Also, I would like to not tilt the entire thing anymore. Maybe the reason why I couldn't get the trailer back upright the other time, maybe it wasn't even the coils, it might have just been the H-beams. Because that was really not supposed to go in there. Okay, let's try and make some space for the other guys. Oh yeah, this is another rather steep section. But yeah, by the way, if you want me to do one of the H-beam deliveries, let me know. I'm definitely open for it, but I don't know, it's like a side product right now. With coil loading, those things are definitely the star of the show. But even so, I wouldn't mind moving on from these. It's kinda neat. There's potential for more things further down the line, which are pretty much planned from what I know. So there will be further industries in the game. But as it is right now, it's a grind. Come on, move on by. Step right up. Okay, time to get back fully on the tarmac. Don't think that's going to do much for me, but no reason to be in the dirt if there's nobody behind me. Yeah, welcome to the slowest part of the journey. I don't know if I want to film this in one or if I should take a break. But yeah, we don't do these super long deliveries all the time, so I might as well make this into one episode. As a bit of a special. The most uneventful special you can imagine. But yeah, when it comes to the payout, now that I'm doing this kind of thing, I know the amount, just about how much I'm going to make in the end. So yeah, maybe I have been a bit harsh on the whole thing in the past. Especially now that the amount of cargo scaling to these things have been reduced. I wasn't around on the testing before that update happened. But I imagine you actually have to fully load up the trailer here. That really wouldn't be working out because, I mean, how many would you even need to put on there? At least 8 coils, I would guess, before the whole thing can even be considered full. So good luck with transporting that. That's going to be a major pain and tire bursting, all that stuff. Not really a good thing for a regular delivery, just to keep up the amount of money you make. As it is right now, though, it's working out quite well. I don't think the single coil delivery that I attempted the last time around would ever be viable, partially due to the amount you're making. But this thing as it is right now, yeah, this should be a decent payout. But it's also quite the long journey, it's a slow one, so we'll have to see. Also, we are gaining speed right now. Turning on the Jake brake. Better safe than sorry with this stuff, and especially with the upcoming turn, I would rather slow down a bit too much. Oh yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this before, or if it was even obvious to begin with. I don't know why my guy just started headbanging. But yeah, the thing I want to mention is I actually put some indicator lights on the front. On the very top on the outsides, left and right, the orange lights, that's not part of the base model, that's the new lights that I placed. Hard to really see. Initially I want to make these into turn signals, but they have kind of a fast fade in, but they fade out very slowly if you pay attention to that. So for a turn signal that just doesn't work because they barely turn off before they turn back on, and yeah, it needs to be a more sharp cutoff. We'll have to see if that gets addressed at some point. The major thing I would still like to see worked on is making the attachment system work a bit more reliable. There are some weird things going on where sometimes you can move a light in a certain direction, and if you move it in another one, it's suddenly going still the first one to some degree, and also rotation isn't always reliable. So sometimes if you rotate them in the wrong direction or do it in the wrong order, then your light may end up crooked. And that's been marked as a high priority bug, but I'm still waiting on that being fixed. I got a few of my bug reports on the Trello right now, so yeah, hoping to see those addressed. Also, we are really chugging through the fuel right now. It's a bit better now that we are on the downhill, but yeah, there couldn't be a much longer journey between the gas stations. Part of the problem is that the Atlas semi-trucks, they all only have one additional utility slot. So while the rest of the semi-trucks, or at least most of them, can get 200 liter fuel increase, this one can only get 100. I mean, it's not really too bad right now. I remember it being maybe a bit worse the other time. I don't know. But yeah, definitely wouldn't recommend skipping the next gas station. And yeah, I think this time around I'll go straight on and go through Seongsan. Or maybe I'll turn left after getting there. Let's quickly check the map. So yeah, the map is suggesting to just go straight through the residential area. But I think what I want to do is go over here and then to the left, across the island and over here. I think that's a more reasonable route. Other one would be to go through Ensign or over Ensign, just beside it, whatever. But that would also mean a $3,000 fine, and I would rather not pay that, even though it's not really that much of a big deal. We basically paid 3K already through just resetting the truck when it fell over. Also, I'm very tempted to color match the trailer with the wolf on the side of my semi. I think that would be nice as a bit of a continuation. However, the reason why my trailer has that particular color is that it's meant to mimic the color of the military supply boxes, which I use to transport quite a lot with this trailer, so yeah, that's how that came to be. Also, for some reason, the game now wants me to go across the other bridge, but too late. Made up my mind. So we are going to stick to this plan now. The thing about me wanting to make a judgment call on the entire coil transportation right now, it's always a question on how long it takes, as well as the effort and whatever else, how long it takes to produce the stuff, if it's part of a supply chain to begin with. The thing is, I don't have good data on just the amount of time it takes. Unless I'm doing a recording through which I usually get some sort of measurement in that way, because I can just see how long the episode is. But usually it's not like I'm sitting here with a stopwatch or anything. But also I feel like the game should really start considering making a baseline for this stuff and then going from there. There are a few jobs that are in the same ballpark as far as payment is concerned, but I don't know. There are a lot of outliers as well, which obviously with how the game works, with how many activities there are and all that kind of stuff, it's always going to be a bit of a mixed bag in terms of fair payment. I don't think that's really too bad for the most part. It's never going to be perfect, that's what I mean. Mixed bag is maybe a bit too harsh. But yeah, finally off OG, going back to the OG island. And yeah, I'm swerving all over the road. It's kind of tough getting the thing to go straight. It always feels like there's something pushing either way, and with that heavy load, it takes a lot of time before it even really starts to settle. Also, there have been some weird handling things going on. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but it seems like, yeah, it's a bit more drifty now than what it was before. at least on the testing bench compared to the regular one. I mean, there have been some changes to how physics behave in terms of overloading, so then that might go in there as well, I don't know. But yeah, we'll have to see where it lands in the end. I think that might also be an explanation on why the trailers feel a bit more slidey than before. Who knows? Lots of moving parts in the game, and knowing what the dev can do and how he handles the stuff, I'm not too concerned. It's going to get taken care of at some point. I've really been careful on the brakes, by the way. This isn't me just fully pulling the whole thing, I'm just really barely tapping it. I may have upgraded the trailer brakes to 200% though, so that might be part of the problem. But then again, I think that's necessary so that you can always make sure that if you brake, the trailer doesn't try to brake out and overtake the tractor. So you gotta do something there. You know what? This should be fine for a moment. I'll just quickly refresh my buses and all of that. And yeah, my dump here right now, most of them I've took off the road for the time being. And the current one is only there for coal, which is my most needed resource right now. Oh great, the whole thing came to a stop here. It's going to take ages to get going again. Yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, the dumpies. I've taken most of them off oh, yeah, off duty right now because the steam is kind of full on that. And I think at this point it might be a better idea to just take the one that I have and put it onto another route for a moment, just so that it can do a few cycles through there, and in the meantime the coal depot can finally restock a little bit, because that's not really been doing too well. I've also seen that maybe the dev has finally tried fixing the whole thing about company trucks just losing their cargo over time. Or more like if I'm using a company semi-truck, the trailer is going to get lost. I submitted a bug report a while ago about that, because it just got ridiculous. I spent some time at Anson Speedway for the recent racing event, and during the time my semi-trucks came by, and since they are usually besides the road instead of on the road, they fully loaded in, fell off the bridge, lost the trailer, and then at some point kept going but without the trailer. So yeah, constantly having to reconnect with stuff, it's just too much babysitting for me. So for the time being I deactivated all of them, which might be a bit of a problem, because if I keep supplying the Gappa supermarket, that might increase the amount of coal that Dassa Harbor is going to produce. So I might have to bring one or two of those back and hope that this stuff doesn't happen anymore. There seemed to be another similar bug that apparently got fixed with this version, so it might be worth looking into it. But yeah, my bug report in particular is still on there, so I don't know. It felt like it was the same issue for both of them, but that's something that sometimes happens. Okay, I haven't really considered that this road is actually decently steep. Maybe I should have gone on the outside instead of across the island, because now I have to deal with the incline. Not really much I can do at this point though. Turning around right now would be a huge waste of time. I mean, there's still going to be quite the climb, but... Okay, let's double check for a moment. I could go over here. I think the end of the incline is going to be somewhere around here. I could also theoretically go onto this much more windy road, which I think would be a lesser detour. But there's also a bit of incline on the other side, so that might not be that much better. Yeah, I completely forgot about this whole problem. Going around the outside would have been the better idea. To be clear, on the other run, I went past Anson and also the Avoy Raceway, so that was also dealing with an incline. But this might be the worst side for that kind of thing. Let's just go into the outside. Also, I wonder if they'll ever adjust this road. This could easily be a 3-lane road without any issue. And this is why I went with a 13-speed transmission for this one. I would still like having maybe like 8-speed with 2 low gears and everything else being a bit more regular, or just 1 really low gear and then 7 normal ones. Something like that. Because 13 still feels like, in most cases, I'll be skipping through most of them. So 2 or 3 gears at a time. Or just be skipping 1 gear, going straight to the next one after, or maybe even 2. That's how I mean it. So from 1 to 3rd or 4th even, potentially. I will have to see if we ever get anything like that. I think when it comes to these kind of upgrades, plus a few more options, the game is kinda overdue on that. Also, I'm a bit curious what the low parts of the suspension here are. Or the undercarriage of my semi-truck. Yeah, feels a bit weird how low some of the parts go. They would almost be grinding on the ground right now, and I don't know what the purpose of that is. I might have to check that out later, but it won't be on recording. Would have to put this thing onto a lift or something. But yeah, that doesn't look good. Anyways, we are over the hill now, finally. So just trying to not tip it over. Also, the area is looking so much better now. Still obvious that not all the areas have seen that kind of improvement. At least not quite yet, but... Yeah, South Lido Island is looking really amazing now, and I can't wait to see what Betty is going to do with Northern one. I hope we'll still get maybe some expansions to the road network at some point. I would actually really like to get another town somewhere in the east area of the island, maybe also another one in the west. But the east definitely has a lot more empty space that could be filled up that way. And it would be really useful for some jobs like taxi and all of that. Too much of taxi driving right now is really going back and forth between Gangyang and Jeju City. So that gets old pretty quickly. But I think overall we just need a few more updates to different other jobs. I still want to make this not necessarily tier list kind of deal, but just talking about which jobs right now are the best, which ones are kind of the ones that need the most work, because they are still kind of very unfinished. Spoiler, the one that has the most of things to offer right now is just anything to do with cargo. Just because of all the subsections and everything. I wouldn't be going deeper than that. I won't be comparing bus driving to trash delivery. It will be the whole of cargo to the whole of bus driving and that kind of thing. Anyways, let's finally deliver the stuff. Okay, 166k, that's a bit less than I thought it would be. I mean, all the stuff was slightly below 30k, so yeah, not too unexpected. I should still be able to see the prices. Yeah, 28, 27, 26. So yeah, that's how that happens. I was calculating with 30k, but in the end, through town bonus, we kinda got exactly there. This took me 52 minutes, so considering the loading and maybe taking a better route instead of going across the hill, it would have been much faster to stick to the outside of the island. We would definitely be looking at slightly over an hour for that. So this is pretty decent, I would say. Yeah, pretty decent job. No heavy off-roading for this part required. Of course, if you want to deliver stuff to the steel mill, part of the idea is that you are going to do some heavy off-roading jobs. But yeah, for this one, it's really more like standard trucking with just really heavy loads. But yeah, I think in this constellation, just taking care of stuff with your regular semi-truck, regular trailer, and not going for anything weird or potentially stupid, I think this is kind of a winner. I wonder how the matey would handle this. Likely not amazingly, let's be clear about that. And yeah, I'm backing the trailer right into the tuning shop. Okay, the only things that really suffered are the brake pads. Understandably so. Tires 1%, 2%, despite some overloading happening. Let's take a look at the semi. Really same story, so yeah. I don't know, I think maybe some of tire wear should be looked into. Just in terms of regular tire wear, I think right now there's barely anything happening. Then again, I wouldn't want every trip to end with tire replacements. Just gonna keep an eye on that. Right now it feels maybe a bit too low, but there have definitely been times in the past where it may have been a bit too high. But yeah, I don't want it to be annoying, but right now it feels a bit irrelevant. But then again, I barely managed to keep within the limits of the tires, so they shouldn't really be deteriorating like that. I don't know. Let me know if your thoughts and opinions on the matter. I'm a bit split on the entire thing. But yeah, overall, coil delivery is recommendable if you can get your hands on enough of them. But with that being said, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and see you guys next time. Until then, have a good one and bye bye.